Hey and welcome to this AI tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to test Bolt, probably the best tool at the moment to build web applications with no coding experience. So in just 15 minutes we'll build a fully functional AI-powered web app that has user authentication, letting people to register and log in, AI generation features, a database to store information, and as you can see, also a public URL that anyone can access so you can share it with friends and family. So this is just a prototype, an example to demonstrate how you can quickly basically build anything, any web app ideas that you have. So let's go to bolt.new and get started. So yeah, the first thing that we need to give it is a prompt. And so I'm using also voice input that I can recommend. I'm on the Windows computer, but also works on a Mac. So I can just tell it what I want to create. And this is just a feature of Windows. It's not a feature of Bolt, but also on Mac available. I want to create a recipe generator where the user selects a protein, a carbohydrate, and a vegetable, and an AI generates a recipe. Okay, that's kind of our prompt. First we tell it what actually kind of we want to create. Then what should happen if a user does something. You can make it more elaborate, but I think it's good to start small and then do it iteratively. So let's get this starting. So you saw also there were different kind of frameworks. So you can specify theoretically if you want to use something else. By default, it uses Vite. And I made also pretty good experience with just using the default, because if you're specifying something like Next.js, I saw it running into more problems, but maybe this will get better. And yeah, it takes like a little bit, as you can see here. So now it should be almost ready to try it out. And so we can here like now select a protein, a carbohydrate, and a vegetable, and then generate a recipe. Okay, so yeah, it also gives us a little bit more explanation. So maybe the first thing that we want to do now, and we can also do different things, but yeah, I'm just doing that now, is that we want to maybe just iterate a bit on the design. You don't need to do that, but let's do that. So I again like use my voice input here. Let's adjust the design. Let's remove this icon at the top. Let's create a navbar with a name and remove the description at the top. Then let's make the design a bit more sophisticated, maybe more in the style of Apple design. And then also let's rather use a subtle green instead of purple. Okay, I think that's kind of good. You should always control if it actually picks up. I mean, I have a German accent, so sometimes something goes wrong there. But yeah, I think that's good. And let's see how the iteration here works. So I think that should be like pretty simple. And we are going to build actually an application that also will use some AI, and also we are trying to build something actually where you have a database so that you have basically all of the building blocks that you need. Okay, I think that looks better. Called Recipe Lab now, why not? You can choose something, generate recipe. Yeah, I think that looks better. So now I think it's not really using AI to generate this recipe. So just stored some things and it's always the same kind of. So if I try that again, we get the same recipe. So yeah, that's not really what we want. So now let's add the AI generation, and here it also gets more sophisticated. So let's prompt it that way. Okay, now I want to use a real AI to generate the recipe. Use the OpenAI API. Yeah, there made a spelling mistake. We're going to use the OpenAI API. I think it's like the easiest if you don't know a lot. Yeah, I personally also really like Claude and Anthropic, actually even more. But I think for simple prototyping, it's really good to use the OpenAI API. Yeah, and while we are waiting that it's creating here, that we can already look here. You need to go to platform.openai.com and create an account if you don't have to. You should also probably, yeah, like you need to put in your credit card, or I think if you do it the first time, you get some free credits, but it's actually really, really cheap. So you will not end up spending more than €1 or €2. Yeah, and then you go to the API keys that you can find here and then create a new API key, give it a name. I like to call them something like delete at the end. So I remember that I should delete them and they were for nothing important. Now you will also see my key, but I will delete it after recording this video, so you cannot do anything with it. But yeah, this API key basically enables you, because this is like a paid service, right? And most of the API services for AI, or all of them basically are paid services because they cost something, right? And so like for that you need to pay, and that means also you need to create your own API key here so that you can pay for it. But it's, for what we are building, it's really, really, really cheap. Like I think, yeah, if like 1,000 people would use it, you probably still not end up paying more than €1 or €2. Okay, so now, yeah, it gives us more instruction what we need to do. And that's also actually, now we need to actually go into the code. We need to change something. That's the only time that I think we need to do it here in this quick tutorial. Yeah, so like here, we need to put in the API key. And this is actually basically, yeah, like the code editor where we can also interact with the code. If you know a bit more about coding, then this can be helpful. But yeah, like let's just save that. And now let's see if it works. So I want chicken, pasta, and spinach. I hope it works. I mean, sometimes also it generates errors and then you need to do something. But yeah, I mean, this looked pretty good actually. It was really fast. Let's try again. Okay, yeah, I think you saw like it does some things a little bit different. Yeah, we could change it now like to do even more, but I think it's okay. Yeah, one thing that we can also try, I just show you, we can, for example, also generate images to it. That's also possible with the OpenAI API. Okay, now I want the user to be able okay, now I want to use AI to generate an image for the recipe. Okay, so yeah. Now we're doing this. Again, it takes a little bit. Yeah, so like the nice thing about Bolt is actually that they are partnering also with Claude and Anthropic. That's, I think, they're using probably also the newest Sonnet model, Claude Sonnet, which is really strong, the 3.5 from October. And so now it's really gotten very good at coding. Okay, let's generate this recipe. And the recipe is already here. But yeah, like the image always takes a bit longer. So yeah, we need to think about actually if we want to keep the image, because it always takes longer. But looks kind of nice if we have the image. So maybe we keep it. Okay, now to make it a real app, also we need something where user can also actually register. So let's build that too. Okay, now I want the user to be able to register with their email and be able to sign in. Yeah, so I think this is like a very basic feature that you will need. And that's something that it's not so easy, that you cannot so easily get also with other applications. So I think it's really great that they're basically integrating with this authentication and database provider called Supabase. And Supabase is pretty cool. Yeah, it's an open source Firebase alternative. A lot of people are actually using it. So it's really good to use. And so you need to create like an account there. But then you don't need to configure much. Basically the rest, and this is also free. You can have like 2 projects running that are free here, and then later you need to pay. But I think for trying it out, it works great. And so yeah, it's great that they integrate with this. And so this helps a lot because yeah, you can have like this initial signups. Okay, so yeah, here we see we need to click to this connect to user base, to Supabase button in order for this to work. And I mean, I'm making this all now on the example of this recipe app, but of course you can create whatever other application you would like to create. Okay, yeah, this takes a little bit to create this project. So yeah, theoretically, we can also check out how this looks like on different formats. We can open on a separate tab. So we can make this project publicly accessible just via an URL. And okay, now we are already done and we have here our possibility to sign in. So I clear this problem that was detected. I think this was just because, yeah, okay, so they said this takes like up to 5 minutes, but we already have it. So let's use test at example.com. So obviously this is really like just for testing, right? So here we don't have any, like any OTP or something that you get the code via, need to verify it via email or something like that. You can build that later, but it's a bit more complicated. Okay, so now I'm signed in here, you see, with an email, and I can also sign out. And yeah, I don't know, I can generate it again, but I mean, I trust that it's still working. Although it's always good to verify it, but yeah, we can see that it's always working. So the last thing that we want to do now is basically for the user, so that it also has some functionality to be able to like save a recipe. So let's do that. Okay, now I want the user to be able to save a recipe to their account. Okay, here you can see now we have like again our nice photo, everything is still working, and now let's make the next iteration. Yeah, the last thing that we're going to do is to, once this works, to deploy it. So actually there it will be accessible via an email, via a URL that then you can send it to your friends and they can also try it out and use it. So that's a great thing also here. It's basically, you have everything here. And you have built really an MVP now in, like in 15 minutes, basically. You can build your own application, as you can see, AI application in 15 minutes with user management. So I think that's really great. And if you are like a bit more, sophisticated developer, you can also like download it and then, just locally run it and then use something like Cursor if you want to. Or like open it in Stack Blitz, which is more like an IDE. But I will not cover that here. So let's try again, pasta, potatoes, and spinach. Fish, potatoes, and spinach, sorry. Sorry. First we need to actually apply the changes. I didn't see that. So yeah, always keep an eye on what's going on here on the side. Fish, rice, bell peppers. Generate recipe. Okay, yeah, now we're still waiting for the image always to generate. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have it implemented, just takes longer, but it looks like a bit more sophisticated, like we have something. Okay, now save the recipe. Okay, cool, we have it saved. And now here at the top we have this show saved recipes. And we can see here the recipes that we have saved. So now we can try again to sign out and see if we actually still have that. Yes, we still have this here as saved. Okay, cool. So now we deploy it. So meaning that now they're using the service called Netlify. And again, you don't need to pay anything for it. But you will have basically a URL that you can share and then people can use and try that out themselves. So I think, yeah, that's really great. So like here, it's already deployed. So that was quick again. And yeah, you can see also now I can open an incognito tab here. I could be anybody. I need to sign up. Test 2. And password. Okay, and you see now I can do that. Okay, let's generate the recipe. And yeah, I think, yeah, here like this camera's on there, so we should probably work a little bit on the prompt. But anyway, let's sign out. And also again, to show you that it actually persists, right? So like, let's go back here to the test 1 and sign in. So here, there should be now still one recipe saved, right? From the database. And here we have our grilled citrus fish with bell pepper rice. And if we click on it, we even see it. So yeah, that's kind of it. So I think we basically in like 15 minutes built this small MVP, and which I think shows you what you can do with bold.new. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what you create with it.